If the New York Knicks get this level of engagement and aggressiveness from Mikal Bridges and Deuce McBride the entire season, they are going to be an incredibly dangerous offense.
You are Locked On Knicks, your daily New York Knicks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
You are locked on to the New York Knicks. My name is Gavin Schall. I am a New York City native. I'm a credentialed media member that's been covering the Knicks for nearly a decade, and I am the Saturday co-host of the Locked On NBA podcast. You are watching Locked On Knicks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, your daily podcast on the New York Knicks, giving the most detailed insight of your favorite team at least 5 days a week. So be sure to join thousands of other Knicks fans and subscribing on both YouTube and your favorite podcast platform for the best insight on your favorite team every single day. On today's show, we continue our recap of preseason game one, Knicks Sixers, big game for both Mikal Bridges and Deuce McBride. I go into some of the highs and lows for Mikal and why it was just a flat out standout performance from Deuce McBride before getting into the backup guard debate. Jordan Clarkson versus Malcolm Brogdon. Who were we, I say we because Kris Pursiainen is also on this episode, who were we most impressed with in their first action as New York Knicks? And then we go through pretty much every single one of the 19 or so guys. I think the final number was 90. Was it 21? I don't know. It was crazy. Guys who played in this game, including Ariel Hukporti, really flashing, Tyler Kolek, having some moments, Mohamed Diawara continuing to show why he might be an interesting project for the New York Knicks going forward. We're going to get into all of it. But first, I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started today. All right, guys, as promised, we are back with Kris Pursiainen of Clutch Points, new co-host of the Locked On Knicks podcast, to discuss just a little bit more from that preseason game, because I on one hand, it's stupid to get this invested in a preseason game. I don't know about you, Kris. I'm always just like fiending a little bit after months off.
Yes.
Summer league scratches some of that itch, but you want to talk about everyone because every little moment feels so consequential, and the type of stuff that in game 72 you're just throwing out. You're like, that's some Mohamed Diawara, man. He's an NBA player. But
did you see the way he missed that layup? It just the spin on the ball was a great miss.
I genuinely, with guys like Pacome and just rookies that I want to work, that thought does consistently go through my head. But like, he missed it, but look, that was a soft shot, man. That was good. Anywho, all right, we left off. You gave your thoughts on Mikal Bridges and Deuce McBride.
Like Boone with Volpe's at bats.
There you go. Yeah. And I wanted to share mine on Mikal, because I was just like a little more mixed on him. To your point, I love the energy. He seemed hyper engaged. I like the usage on both ends of the floor. Point to note, and we mentioned this in what we were watching, he was the point of attack guy, and maybe that was a product of OG Anunoby being out. I have a feeling that is going to be his role if Deuce McBride is not a starter, and it does not seem like Deuce McBride is going to be a starter. And it was mixed results. Like at times, Maxey was absolutely cooking him. It was more of an issue, though, even off the ball than on the ball. Like he had an inbounce where he just completely fell asleep. And I don't know if he thought Cat would just be stationed by the rim, but like the second the ref handed the ball over, Maxey just back cut him and got a layup, which was really frustrating. There was another play where he played really good initial on-ball defense on Maxey, loses focus, gets back cut. Maxey gets it, hits a Dembona for like in the first half. We have to note this was the Sixers B team, right? No Joel Embiid, no Paul George, no recently re-signed Quentin Grimes, and Philly was staying right in this game despite shooting 1 for 16 from three, because the Knicks defense was just not good enough in terms of engagement. And yes, this game is in Abu Dhabi, preseason game one. You throw some of that out the window. You don't take it too seriously. But I just wanted to note that, just because I thought engagement level defensively was an issue for Mikal at times last year. Screen navigation, again, at times looked like an issue. There was a play where him and Cat were involved in a side pick and roll. Mikal was slow getting around. Cat was just a little bit too high and probably should have been sitting back at the rim. And it ended up being like a walk-in rolling dunk for, I think, Dominique Barlow. I don't quite remember who that
Bergen
was.
County, New Jersey.
Go. Shout out Hackensack, right? So that was not good. What was good was there were, to your point, and you mentioned this, there were flashes where Mikal just had Maxey in jail, and we saw this last year at times when he was guarding Trae Young. I remember a couple of possessions. I've referenced this game a million times, but that Portland game, the second one at MSG where Brunson was out and he just had Shaedon Sharpe in absolute hell, and Shaedon Sharpe didn't even want to touch the ball at a certain point. Like there were stretches of him being really engaged and playing very solid defense on Tyrese Maxey. But last year, you weren't even seeing those flashes during the regular season. He had a great play where he broke up a pass, which looked more like playoff Mikal Bridges and looked more like Phoenix Suns Mikal Bridges. You noted this, but like he was just not afraid to attack the rim in transition, which was really exciting for a guy who last year would just like make an inexplicable extra pass or would pull up for a 10-footer with a 2-on-1. Just the fact that he was unafraid going to the rim was good. The form on the jumper is something I noted at the end of our first show on this game. He had a little bit of the weird two motion stuff that was made my stomach flip and was maybe the single most discouraging thing I saw in this game, where he missed the first three, second one like went off the like right side of the backboard, almost like he was way off on the first two threes. And then very similar to last year, like two times he got it, like one off a loose ball, one off a catch and shoot in the corner, and he was in rhythm. He didn't overthink it. It was a one motion shot, really quick, very much in rhythm, and he just drained it. And that, like, more of that, please, from Mikal Bridges, because the touch is not a question. Like, I think the form when he's not in his head about it is not a question. I want to give him more than one game to get settled. That is just something I noted. And then Deuce, I'll be quick because I'm going long here to start the pod, but the handle is just better than I've ever seen it from him. And that was always sort of the question about him being more than an off-ball guy and having some on-ball juice, like lulling Barlow to sleep, snatch back, and then just gliding by him. Like, it was so smooth. This is a guy who shot just horrifically bad around the rim. Again, Dominique Barlow is probably not an NBA level defender or rotation defender, but he just absolutely cooked him. And some of the shot making was just ridiculous. Like, had that pivot one way, pivot the other way, fade, had the 1 foot Dirk fade in an ISO, dribble handoff from Mitch, gets to a spot around the screen, takes his time, puts a three in a defender's eye. Like some of that was just stuff we saw in bits and pieces last year, but for him to put that together in his first game under Mike Brown, really, really encouraging.
This is like in a video game where you can upgrade your character's attributes or traits, but it's kind of in like a tree. So there's different categories, and it feels like just by improving his handle, by spending his doubloons on upgrading his handle,
great word,
Deuce unlocked like 6 upgrade trees. And this is all about complementary basketball, right? This is all about, hey, if you establish the run, all of a sudden you can take a shot on third down because they're scared. They got guys loaded up in the box. It's the same thing. Jalen Brunson is not going to be an off-ball player every play of the game, but because he is sometimes, you have to watch out for everything. That is the key of this Mike Brown era of Knicks basketball right now, is not any one way being the right way. It's, we can do it all. You have fun figuring out which one we're planning on. And guess what? If you figure it out, we're just going to pivot mid-play. We're just going to run it again. We're just going to reset. And this is the kind of thing where I look at someone like Malcolm Brogdon being on the team now, able to hold the pace, get that kind of that point guard's magic wand to control the tempo of a game. And I look at Deuce McBride, and I think this is a punch to the face off the bench. This is, you're gonna get this guy in the game. First of all, this is a kid who's been giving Steph Curry and first year Heat Kyle Lowry fits since he was quite young with his point of attack defense. And that's Deuce, right? Like that's who he is on this Knicks team, and who he would be, I think, on any team, is that kind of bulldog. They had a lineup out there that was something like Shamet, Dadier, Yabusele, McBride, Clarkson was the five?
I wrote it down. It was Clarkson, Deuce, Shamet, Pacome, Yabu. You nailed it.
And they are able to do a lot more than they showed last season. It doesn't mean they'll do all those things well, but the options, the uncertainty that goes into trying to figure out what exactly they're about to do, those are the split-second decisions where someone like Miles McBride with a new tuned-up handle might just drive right by you. And by the time you realized that Mikal was about to be open in the left corner, but it didn't even matter because you overplayed your hand and you got too close to Deuce, you got to turn around to find the kid. Look at the stats last year. Deuce McBride, one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA. So the question becomes, here's this player, here's this thing he's elite at. How can he do more of that? And the answer is by being better at dribbling. Because if he is a better ball handler, he can drive, not lose the ball, get poked at, not lose the ball, maybe draw a second defender. And then I know he's on the shorter side, but that bench unit is going to be small. Yabu, Clarkson, Brogdon, someone's going to be right there. And even if he can't jump and make a Halliburton jump pass to the right read in the weak side corner, he can shovel it to Yabu 4 feet away, who's going to get it there even faster. That guy, did you see the play? Was it Bona or Edwards that he just completely stifled in the paint? He just didn't move his feet. He was like, you're not going to make me move my feet no matter how hard you dribble into me.
It was Bona, and I'm sure that happened in Sixers practices at times last year. That was the highlight for him.
It was that cat and Boogie Cousins meme where like DeMarcus Cousins just standing there and Cat's like
dying. Yeah.
But anyway, like this is a team that seems pretty set on figuring out what its strengths are, figuring out the easiest way to make use of those strengths, and then trying to do it. Whether that's Jalen Brunson, we're going to get you better. We're going to get you more open. We're going to get you more consistently open looks from 3 off the ball. Whether that's Mitchell Robinson, we're going to throw it up 3 times a game. You just got to slam them things down because that's what you do, and you're a vertical spacer and you're elite at it. Or whether it's, hey, Karl Anthony Towns, you've called yourself the best shooting big man on the planet. Maybe stop sheepishly crashing the glass instead of being open for 3. Whatever it is, hey, we got a player that's good at this thing. A, C. What's B, and how can we master it? And that is a pretty encouraging and refreshing mindset for any basketball coach to have.
I agree with everything you just said. And I want to get into the rest of the bench. I want to talk Jordan Clarkson versus Malcolm Brogdon because I thought that was an interesting battle. We'll get into that in just a sec. We're going to continue with Kris in just a sec, but first I want to tell you about our good friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many different ways to play. I built parlays, tried player props, and even followed live lines during games. It makes watching football just a little bit more exciting, which if you're a Giants or Jets fan, you need. The two teams are a combined 1-7. I am personally afflicted with being a Giants fan, which was pretty good in my youth, 2 Super Bowls, but the last 13 years has not been as fun. Poor offensive line play, poor quarterback play. They might finally have a quarterback, and lo and behold, they immediately lose Malik Neighbors. So that sucks. What sucks a little bit less is having FanDuel around to juice your Sundays, make them just a little bit more exciting, make your game day experience that much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started right away. All right, let's talk backup guards. We covered Deuce. I thought it's some interesting minutes from Jordan Clarkson and Malcolm Brogdon. Clarkson, certainly better box score game, right? 9 points, 4 of 9 from the field. Didn't make a 3, had an and 1, or he got 1 free throw somehow. Malcolm Brogdon, though, quiet game statistically, 3 points, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers. I came away almost, again, this is like overreaction to 15 minutes for both those guys of meaningless basketball, thinking that assuming they do ultimately make the roster in the Knicks trade one of Pucom or Kolek to ensure that Brogdon can be on the roster, and Shamet for that matter, that Brogdon should maybe be ahead of Jordan Clarkson in the rotation. And until we get to preseason game 3, and maybe only if OG Anunoby's healthy, will we get an actual hint on if that is going to what the order is for the rotation? The hint this game was that Clarkson is certainly ahead of Brogdon. Brogdon, I don't believe, played in the first half, and Clarkson got significant minutes in the first half. So that is something to note, at least in terms of Mike Brown's current pecking order. But I think I value, again, just based off this 15-minute stretch of meaningless basketball, what Brogdon brings in terms of organization a little bit more. Talking to Ben Strober over at Locked On Wizards, he mentioned Brogdon's ability to just create shots, run organized offense, but also look for those hit aheads in transition. And he is just the kind of point guard the Knicks have not had very often under Tom Thibodeau. And that is to say, it's weird for someone who spent their whole career as a quote unquote combo guard and a lot of time off the ball to describe them as a true point guard, but he has point guard instincts in a way Jalen Brunson doesn't always have, in a way Jordan Clarkson doesn't always have, in a way Derrick Rose didn't always have on the Knicks. Like, he is just very, very good at like keeping the trains running on time. We know the shot is going to be solid in a way that Clarkson's might be a little inconsistent, right? Drain that first catch and shoot three off a Deuce push, got right into the lane, created a corner three for Landry Shamet, defensively just savvy, like stripping Justin Edwards on the way up. Was part of my maybe single favorite sequence of this game, Kris, where Hukporti faked a DHO to him. Brogdon cut through. Hukporti really, maybe not Hartenstein level, but close to it, like really talented passer already, hits Brogdon cutting over the top. 3 defenders converge. Brogdon catch immediately, slings it to the corner to Shamet. Extra to Garrison Matthews, who shot the leather off the ball, drains a wing 3. It was beautiful. It was triggered by Hukporti, but it was also triggered by Brogdon. Opportunistic pass and not having to think about the next read, right? Catches 3 defenders around him, just immediate spray to the corner, no thought, right play, leads to an open 3. I love that from Malcolm Brogdon. From Clarkson, you got what Jordan Clarkson has always been, right? And that is a bucket, and the ability, like late in a shot clock, to find a shot, to hit a shot. There is immense value in that. And I don't want to underrate that, even if it's less my like personal, like aesthetic taste of what I want from a backup point guard. Like, that is exceptionally valuable, right? You saw the skill, right? Like a slow step into a runner, like had like off an inbound, just immediately got into an ISO for a turnaround jumper. Like there was good stuff there from Jordan Clarkson. I am really curious if those two are on the roster, like come playoff time, which of those two is playing, because I don't think in a playoff rotation we'll see a lot of both of them.
Yeah, when it comes to Brogdon, you mentioned that the Knicks haven't had that kind of archetype of player. I do think that was kind of on purpose. That is the exact kind of player that may, in a Tom Thibodeau offense, kind of shrink in the playoffs due to not really having a purpose out there on the court. Like, if it's going to be the best player doing what they do, then what's the point of having someone out there whose best attribute is their ball handling ability if they're not Mikal Bridges or Julius Randle or someone who brings a whole lot of other stuff to the table? So I do think it was intentional that the Knicks never really had a Brogdon type of guard, that when they did, it was a William Wesley idea and a Tom Thibodeau inspired idea to trade them. This is, again, I got to clarify for like the 19th time, because I'm trying to be so cautious here. This is not me saying that Mike Brown's methods or style or philosophy is better. It is acknowledging that it's very different and seeing where the Knicks can benefit from that different approach. So when it comes to someone like Brogdon, definitely a fit in Mike Brown's offense. I could also see if Brogdon wasn't in the eventual playoff rotation, if they ended up having enough faith in Deuce McBride to fill his and Brogdon's roles and to be out there alongside Jordan Clarkson, who you could see having the more Bojan Bogdanovic campaigny role in the playoffs, which is basically, you're not going to kill us on defense. You're going to help us keep the ball moving. But the reason you're out there is because you're going to hit a couple threes and the crowd is going to blow the roof off the place. And it's hard to come back from that. I could see that being the case. So I'm not writing Brogdon off. I saw a post today that was like, he's been in the gray practice jersey all week. They're going to cut him. And I'm like, I almost wish I lived like that. Like, I almost wish I was able to just like completely throw reality away because of, or someone else too, is there was a still that got posted from Knicks practice and Brogdon was doing a face that was kind of like mid expression. Yeah. And someone was like, oh, Brogdon looks pissed. He's gonna ask the Knicks to release him. Like, he's not playing enough. Something's wrong. What? Like, what? How did we get to any of that? But I do, so I think there's something to, hey, maybe he's not in the playoff rotation. I also think there's something to the fan favorite middle inning reliever helped you get to the playoffs. Just because you're not throwing them out there against Tatis or Judge does not mean that they were not a really big part of your season.
Yeah. And it'll come down to how much of that true point guarding can Clarkson and Deuce do. And you referenced this earlier. The Knicks have historically been dramatically better if Deuce is in the game, if he's playing the 2 versus when he's playing the 1. And we've seen he's had real issues just initiating offense as a 1. Maybe that's gotten better given his improvements in handle. We're going to wrap this up. A bunch of quick hitters, maybe like 10, 15 seconds on each guy, including our favorite, Ariel Huckporti. We'll talk about that in just a sec. We're going to wrap this one up in just a sec, guys. But first, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors, this is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I personally love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep both safer and just a little bit smarter. The swivel screen is an absolute game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a single beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Let's get into Ariel Huckporti a little bit. I know you were, I'm just gonna let you go off because I know you were a big fan of what he showed today.
So, like the Isaiah Hartenstein of it all is that the reason the Knicks identified Hartenstein as a potential value signing in that free agency, and lots of people talk about how they traded the 11th pick and 6 second rounders, but it got them the cap space for Jalen Brunson, so it was all worth it. Wrong. It got them the cap space for Brunson and Hartenstein, which is why it was all worth it, in my opinion. For Hartenstein, that's someone who, in his first couple months with the Knicks, was both playing a bit hurt and also did not have the comfortability in the offense nor the responsibility from the coach in the offense to really have his passing chops go on display. I want to say I had an exclusive interview with him at the end of his first season with the Knicks, and I talked to him about his assist rate and how it went from basically, it was like 12% to 15% his whole time with the Clippers. It was 7 to 8% when he started with the Knicks and 20% by the end of the year. It was clear that Tom Thibodeau was willing to adapt when he saw something was very clearly working. And that's Hartenstein's passing, his short roll passing. I mean, turn a Clippers game on. Ivica Zubac in the short roll is so much of why they're so deadly and dangerous, because they've got James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. But right, like they run pick and roll with their anchor, Balkan big, whose bicep is the size of my torso, and he throws absolute darts out of the short roll to the weak side corner, to another big in the paint, to Harden and back at the top, whatever it is, right? Like a big that can read the floor and has feel for the game is very helpful. I'm not saying that, if you're Mitchell Robinson and you spend 10 seconds at the top of the key waiting for a guard to come get the ball, that you're incorrigible and not defendable. Like that was a schematic thing. You pointed out in this podcast that like Mitchell Robinson was reading the floor at very basic levels that he was like not allowed to before. I think you're seeing Brown kind of start the leash long and seeing where he needs to rein in, as opposed to needing to like pry out of guys that they have abilities that he doesn't know about. He's like, just show me who you are and then I'll figure it out. But when it comes to Huckporti, like I think that's someone who like the Knicks can be. No one's ever confident about injuries. No one's ever happy about injuries. I think the Knicks feel as good as possible realistically regarding Mitchell Robinson missing time this season if it were to happen. I don't know the last time he played more than I think he's due for like a super healthy season this season. Like he's due for one of those 70-plussers, but the last few years have been not that. And that's when you saw some Huckporti last season. I think he's just straight up ready to play at the NBA level now. I remember last year being like, I see some Nick Richards. The defense isn't there, but offensively, he's kind of versatile in ways you wouldn't expect, to the effect that he can stay out there on the court, posterize a guy, but more importantly, grab some offensive rebounds. I think this season he's just straight up an NBA guy. That does not make him the Messiah. It might make him Thomas Bryant for right now, but that's an NBA player. And I would take Hukporti over Bryant to play regular season minutes this season. And a part of the reason of that too is I'm definitely biased here because I have heard from back when the Knicks drafted Hukporti with, if you remember, that was the last pick in that draft, right? Because 2 teams had to forfeit picks. Yeah. So 58 was the final selection. So Mr. Irrelevant, the 58th pick, Ariel Hukporti, I heard from as soon as they took, I had not heard his name once before the draft. I wasn't like who, because he had been in the draft cycle before. So Kev Words at KFS and I actually remembered him from like that 22-23 failed draft cycle run of his. But it was a little bit like, who? And then I just kept getting texts like they love this Hukporti kid. And it's like, why? And I would watch some film and it's like, oh, he can make reads out of the short roll. Oh, he's big. Oh, he's physical. Oh, he plays strong. Oh, he grabs rebounds. Oh, he can really pass out in transition. He makes accurate outlet passes. Okay, I get it. And you saw today what it's like to have a guy who's played overseas, who's played around the world, have a full season as a professional NBA basketball player under their belt, access to those level of strength and conditioning teams, those level of dietitians, those level of chefs, the pizza in Westchester. You know what I mean? Like you saw it. And it was really nice. Honestly, it was really nice to see Hukporti play the way he did today because he answered some questions, which was, can he move up and down the court fast enough? Yes, definitely. Is he making the right reads out there when he does happen to need to make one? Yeah. So that's kind of all you need to know to be able to play him, right? We'll see what happens next.
Yeah, to your point, there's a lot of Hartenstein starter kit there.
Lefty, like, German, 55, number 55. Like it's
all those
okay.
The rebound, they hit ahead to Garrison Matthews. He runs the floor, gets a layup. Like just the level, like the combination of skill and athleticism, to your point, and IQ, like all those things coming together. That is, I think, what makes Isaiah Hartenstein a top like 60, 70 player in the NBA, and Hukporti
rookie numbers.
Like
numbers up.
Yeah, there we go. They're like it's gonna. We'll see if he gets there. Also, the little lefty runner that obviously Hartenstein has his flip shot. Hukporti has the lefty runner. Like that's a lot of fun on the short roll. All right, yeah, it's fun. All right, I figured we can go like 5 seconds on the rest of the guys. Like Gershon, like you mentioned before, had the brick wall stand up, missed his first 2 shots, not shy, had like a fun Euro step in transition where he got the crap blocked out of the shot, but I just like a balletic bear at that.
The bear, I was gonna say the bear was dancing.
There we go.
The bear was dancing.
Mohamed Diawara, there were some fun flashes. Like first touch of the game was just confident, right? Got right to the rim. Missed the layup badly, but who else? Hucky Bear was right there for the putback dunk. Just some of we saw this in summer league from him, and I know you were watching closely, but just a smart pump and go to beat Johnny Broom on a closeout, and then one-handed slip to Alex Len, where he was rightfully like irate that Len did not dunk the basketball and instead waited to get fouled for no real reason. That was strange, but exciting for Mohamed Diawara. I don't know if he'll ever be able to like shoot the basketball or finish a layup. I question the touch, but the defense and reads and size are all really interesting. Garrison Matthews, a best corner 3-point shooter in the NBA last year. He can shoot the hell out of the ball in a world with no Landry Shamet. I would certainly be advocating for him to make the roster. Speaking of Shamet, the defense, the effort was all still there from the playoff run. Like he had a nice play where he dove on a loose ball, beat Justin Edwards to the spot, stripped him, passed up an open 3. Can't do that. Hopefully that improves. Tyler Kolek, just some good finishes from him, which is what you needed to see after
drove with confidence.
Nice bump drive, lefty lay, DHO for a tough runner, quick left to right, like hard stop for an 8-foot pull up, like just confident shooting the ball is good. Kevin McCullough, like I don't know if this is a compliment or an insult in garbage time of an Abu Dhabi game, but looked like he belonged out there, even if he missed like his first couple of shots. Just good court sense, good decisions. That was pretty much everyone I noticed and had notes on. Like anything else to add to that?
Gary Bird.
Yeah. Gary Bird.
3 from downtown in a 3-minute third quarter stretch.
Dude, that guy, he's a freaking shooter, man. Like you see him at your YMCA and you're like, oh, he's staying on every game. He's going to make 10 threes if you don't guard him right.
Yeah, I got to say, like he's one of those guys that is an NBA player who does not get valued as such, or clearly was not valued as such. Listen, I think the Knicks, would need to end up making one of those bigger deals with air quotes for those listening, to even have the roster spot, the second extra roster spot for Matthews. But like, they have put themselves in a position where if someone gets hurt in camp and then, or they make a trade or what, like, they're not just signing guys off the street. They have guys in the building already getting accustomed to the system, learning what their new teammates are like, or potential new teammates are like, that they could just slot right in. So, Matthews definitely belongs at the NBA level. I feel strongly about that. I think we're in a league, and you mentioned hot hand theory earlier. I know they'd agree that like we're in a league where shooting does give you more of a baseline value than something like rebounding or something like passing. So that definitely works in Gary's favor there. And he's a flamethrower. Like, that's that Bojan Bogdanovic at the Garden type of energy.
All right, we've been talking over an hour about an ultimately meaningless basketball game. It was a whole lot of fun. Kris, one final time, can you tell everyone where they can find all your great work?
Yeah, clutchpoints.com. You can Google my name. It's the only good thing about my name is no one else has it. So Kris Pursiainen, just go ahead, plug that into Google. Things will come up. You can click them. All things NBA from A to Z, my show where I talk about the entire league. Presented by ballislife.com. We just had an episode go out talking about 7 teams that should buy ahead of the trade deadline. They're not all contenders. They're not all pretenders. There are 7 teams with a shared goal next season, which is leave the season better than they entered it and try and break that threshold into the contention arena. So definitely a good show there. And I think we had a lot of interesting conversation about like where guys like Lauri Markkanen or DeMar DeRozan could best be used in the NBA on different teams next year.
That sounds awesome. I will certainly be listening. I hope everyone goes and checks it out, and is sure to subscribe here on Locked On Knicks. Leave a 5-star review. All that good stuff helps to grow the show. But until next time, he's Kris. I'm Gavin. We'll talk to you soon on Locked On Knicks.